Hello and welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us for this week's episode of the Upskill Forum. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vince and I am the CEO and co-founder of Agile Consulting Group, and I'm here with
Thaddeus, also known as TJ. I am the president and co-founder of the Agile Consulting Group. Welcome.
Welcome. We are so excited that you all chose to join us this evening. We have an exciting episode in store for us all, and we can't wait to dive into that. As you all know, before we get down to business, we'd like to kick off each episode with a check-in. How are you all doing today? Please feel free to add that in the comments section. TJ, how's your week going so far?
Week's going good, Vince. I oftentimes talk about the weather, but anybody that knows me knows I love the heat. And it seems like the month and a half that we get of summer here in Wisconsin has kind of come to an end. But today is one of the nicest days. Last week, those of you that are local in Wisconsin can attest that it has rained almost every single day. But so far, so good today. I got a little bit of yard work done after my day ended. So, yeah.
Nice.
How about you?
You know, the day has been pretty productive. I'm inspired. I have a lot of my creative juices have been flowing, so I'm excited about that. That's always, a plus. And too, a very beautiful day. I was able to step outside after work just to get some fresh air, which was really nice because sometimes I forget to do that. And those are one of those things that we take for granted. And, considering too that the nice weather is almost gone, I want to take time to at least, really try to enjoy the last bit of summer that we have. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with you. It's almost over, but hey, we're moving on.
Yeah, we are moving on. Keisha Miller, hello, thank you, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. She said she's having a great week. So thank you so much for sharing with us how your week is going. As we kick off this week's episode, our topic tonight is leader versus manager.
Vince, this is good. I'm excited about tonight.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
This is such a great topic. I think we can go fairly deep with this particular subject because it certainly is one that there's a difference.
Absolutely.
And I think that being in leadership, it's important to know the difference between being a leader and being a manager. Many times people have the wrong ideas of what it means to be the boss. And I think even the term boss has a negative meaning to it.
It does.
Even when you think about it growing up, oh, this person is bossy. That person is bossy. You're not the boss of me. You very seldom hear someone say, you're not the manager of me. You're not the supervisor of me.
Right.
But we jump and we say, you know what? You're not the boss of me. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a huge difference between a leader and a manager. And as we like to kick off each and every one of our episodes week over week, we like to start with the quote. And this week's quote is, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. And that is by John Quincy Adams.
I love that quote, and I agree with that 100%. If you are inspired by the individuals that you serve along with, that you work with, that is a true leader. But if you have someone that you work with and as soon as you hear them speak, because they're not that type of leader, it generally causes for a lot of heartache and frustration.
It certainly can. And for those of you who are just tuning in, once again, my name is Vince, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Agile Consulting Group.
And I'm Thaddeus, also known as TJ, and I'm the president and co-founder of the Agile Consulting Group.
And make sure that you all go ahead and start that watch party. Go ahead and share this video with your network. We definitely like to share valuable information that many leaders and emerging leaders and entrepreneurs really gain a lot of insight. So go ahead and start that watch party and share this video with your network. We are so thrilled to have you all joining with us. And that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into tonight's topic. So, managers tell. So we're giving more examples tonight to you all, to our regular viewers. So this is what I want you to do, and here's how I want you to do it. So that's an example of a manager telling. I'm telling you what to do. Now, what are your thoughts on when a manager tells someone what to do?
Well, first of all, if they're a manager and it's my manager, I will 100% respect what they're telling me to do. Mm-hmm. But I can definitely say that if you are a manager that doesn't really lead by example and you're just telling me, sometimes it's hard to bite the bullet. Yep. But I will say, because they're my manager and I have obligations, mm-hmm. I'll respect it.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you know what, TJ, I'm actually the same way. I may not like what you are telling me, but I will respect it and I will abide by the request that is being asked of me, because I don't want to be insubordinate. And, insubordination can lead to termination. So I like to remain mindful of that and always remain respectful, even if I don't necessarily believe in or agree with what I'm being told to do.
But Vince, what about that manager that they tell you to do something and they're capable mm-hmm. of doing it, and you look in their cubicle and they on their phone and you're like, really?
That is definitely frustrating for sure. I definitely think that creates a bad morale for the office, in my opinion. But I think leaders that lead by example don't just tell, but just do. If I can give an example, I remember my very first job when I worked at Walmart. I was 16 years old. And I remember one of my managers and we had a major disagreement. She was walking past one of the aisles and she saw that there were towels on the floor. I worked in the domestics department and she saw that there were towels on the floor. So she walked and then she stumbled across me and she said, "Hey, Vincent, I need you to go pick up the towels about 8 aisles, back that way." She said, "They're just all over the floor." So immediately my first question to her was, "Well, why didn't you pick up the towels?" Because you were the first one to see them on the floor, and that is a hazard. So were you walking to find me or someone else to do it, and you didn't take the initiative to do it yourself? Needless to say, she did not like that comment very much, but I thought it was a valid question.
Don't even get me started. I mean, I can think of, I worked in retail also, mm-hmm. and the retail establishment that I worked for had public restrooms. And if you know anything about public restrooms, they can get kind of messy. So my manager at the time told me, "Hey, there was an accident in the restroom. I need you to go clean it up." At this time, I was just unemployed. I didn't have any direct reports, anything like that. So I went ahead and did it, but I was so frustrated at the fact that I felt you have two hands too, mm-hmm. and you can do the exact same thing that I can do. But I will tell you that when I became a manager, I tried to do things a little bit differently because I wanted to, really inspire my team.
Absolutely. And that can be frustrating, but this is the difference between managers versus leaders. Leaders sell. I have this great idea and I know it will work if I can get you to be a part of it. Now, that reads totally different than a manager telling you, "Here's a task and this is what I want you to do." But this approach has more inclusion. I feel more included. I feel as though my thoughts, my opinions hold more weight and value, and I feel as though I'm a part of the team. And I think one of the most effective styles is creating that collaborative culture where there's a collaboration. We're collaborating to get the work done. We're collaborating to complete the project versus, I'm being told, okay, this is what you need to do.
Having my buy-in as a person that is contributing to the success of the team, whether I'm a manager or not, is very important to me. And knowing that my opinion is valued versus just telling me what to do, you will get a lot more work out of me. So I can definitely find a lot of value and support in having a leader that will sell me the opportunity to hear my input, but also say, how do you feel about this? This is what we need to do. What are your thoughts on it? And though I may not always agree with it, at least you show me that you care, and it kind of grabs me and brings me in to make me want to be on the team.
I think you said the key word, TJ, buy-in. You have to get your team's buy-in.
Absolutely.
If you don't have their buy-in, the likelihood of you getting them to perform and produce results is slim to none. They're not going to perform. You're not going to see the results, and you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to be very irritated because they're not buying into, what you're selling.
I agree. And no one's going to buy into something if they don't feel like they're a part of it. I mean, and everything isn't about money. If you are not happy and you don't feel supported, and that from a manager to a leader's perspective, if everything is tell me versus actually involving me or engaging me, you won't have a lot of success.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Once again, managers plans the details. I'll send out a memo to everyone and set a time for us to meet. For me personally, I hate being in meetings. And most of all, I hate meetings that are about planning the meeting. Nothing just grinds my gears more. But I'll send out a memo to everyone and set a time for us to meet. Okay? Set a time for us to meet about what? And if you send a memo and I have 1,001 more questions just because the memo isn't necessarily clear, you could bet that the first 15 to 20 minutes of that meeting is going to be spent on giving clarity. So if I could just even offer up any advice during this moment, to leaders out there, already answer questions that that your team is going to ask. Be clear and concise with the information that you're sharing, with the intent of, I want to be as mindful of time as possible, and I want us to effectively, make the most of this time that we have together. And I want to be able to give you the gift of time back. So I want to answer any questions that you may have before you can even ask them.
No, I agree with that 199%. One thing that I personally feel that I cannot get back is my time. And I hate to have my time wasted. I don't like having meetings to talk about the next meeting or having a meeting to plan the meeting. Let's set a detailed agenda so that we can know specifically what it is that we need to cover. And I think Vince hit it on the head at making sure that you communicate and articulate everything in that memo so that I can come to the meeting prepared for the items that we need to discuss. And as a manager, you should be thinking ahead of, kind of like Vince said again, what type of questions will happen? What type of information will need to be shared so that we're not wasting each other's time? Because so many managers are just in manager mode and they're just trying to get to the next piece, trying to just get off the items off of their checklist. And a lot of times you're wasting your staff members' time.
And then when we compare that to leaders, Leaders, they set the direction. Let everyone work together. I have some exciting news you want to hear. So that's getting the team excited, about the information that's getting ready to be rolled out. That's already getting their buy-in. That's already letting you know, hey, we are a team. We're going to work together. I have some exciting news that you want to hear. And even then, as you're sharing that exciting news and you're setting the stage that you have exciting news that you're going to be providing, now, one, you have my attention. Two, you're more likely to get my buy-in. And three, you're going to get, my full participation and probably minimal questions.
Absolutely. Set expectations so that when I come to the meeting, I already know what the agenda is. It grinds my gears so much when an individual will call a meeting, they send out a memo, and there's no agenda. Leaders have agendas. Leaders stick to their topics because we want to show that we value your time. We want you to feel valued and know that if we call a meeting, and I consider myself to be a leader, so that's why I'm saying we, but if we call a meeting, I want you to know that your time won't be wasted and that we are going to stick to the facts. And one thing, I have a leader that I work with now, she is very key on making sure if a meeting is supposed to end at 1 p.m., we're at the top of the hour, we're going to go ahead and regroup and come back at a later date, but she makes sure we stick to the agenda so that no one's time is being wasted. And that's huge when you think about so many managers that, again, it's like that checklist, but they're just talking, but nothing's coming out. I mean, how many of you have a manager that their mouth is moving, but they're not saying anything, and you're just wasting your staff members' time because you haven't even planned. As a leader, plan for your meeting. Make sure you have everything in order. Have your talking points. Don't just go off the cliff, and I shouldn't say go off the cliff, but don't just talk to be talking, I guess, in a nutshell. Make sure you have a detailed agenda. And once you give your team their agenda, make sure you have talking points as to what you want to accomplish for each item on the agenda.
Yeah, absolutely. And to our next point, manager minimizes risk. Time is money. The sooner I get it done, the better. Now, I will say this. I do believe that there are instances when you are being the inspirational leader, but then I also too believe that there are instances where you have to get things done. And I say, this, and some of you may agree, some of you may disagree, and that's perfectly fine. In the words of Tabitha Brown, that's your business. But there are times when the deadline, is near, and I may not have as much time. I may have to put on that manager cap and say, okay, guys, we need to get it done. We need to shift into gear and go. Versus if we have more time, then I can lead more in, from an inspirational stance where I'm, more open to, okay, that's a great idea, or, what is your, feedback or your thoughts or your opinions on this or that. Sometimes time is of the essence, and it's like, look, we're at the 11th hour, and it's go time.
Exactly.
So you got to know, when to make that shift or pivot, which is, corporate buzzword right now. So you got to know when to pivot.
You're right, Vince. I mean, we hear that a lot. And as we're talking about this, I want our viewers to kind of talk to us, especially once we get to the question and answer piece. Can a manager be a leader? Because in my opinion, there are some managers that's just all you are, is a manager. Or can you be a leader and not be a manager, or vice versa? So think about that. But it is so important when you think about pivoting and time management, because there are times as a manager, you have to stick to the facts and you have to make sure you are progressing along.
But then that brings up a really good question too, TJ. So are you following me because I'm your manager and you feel as though you have to, or are you following me because you believe in my leadership capabilities?
Vince, there are some managers that I've had that I would not follow across the street. I don't care if the light was blinking saying walk. I'm staying right here because you have no vision and I have no idea where you're going. But I will say, as it relates to a manager, that if you give me instructions and I know that this is what I need to do to get my job done, I'll do that. Yeah. But I'm not doing anything extra because I don't believe in you as a leader. I don't believe in you as the person that I'm looking to get to that next level, even within my career. But as a manager, I'll do just enough to get by if you are that type of manager.
Well, TJ, you said that with your chest. So I think you mean that thing.
I'm just saying.
But then that's the thing too. Leaders take risks. This might stretch us, but the payoff will make it worthwhile. As a leader, you have to take a risk. And as much as we want to mitigate risk and we want to make really great hypothesis and say, okay, if I do this, then this will be the outcome. It doesn't always work that way. And I think that's the thing too, as a leader, you have to understand that there are risks that is associated, with being in that position. And, even as entrepreneurs, I would definitely say I am more risky, than probably the average person in, our industry.
You are risky. I agree with that. But I will say, as a leader, it's good to take risk, especially when you have built a good team. So when you believe in your team and everything that you can accomplish together, I'm going to take that risk.
But you know what they say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And that's one of my mantras that I live by. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I can't forgive myself if I don't at least try and give it a shot. I think, sometimes we become so accustomed to tradition. And, this is the way that it's always been done. I am so open, to different avenues, different ways of doing things, trying things, because I believe that when we do that, we're opening up the floodgates for possibilities. So it's like they say, to get something that you never had, you got to do something that you never done before. And I believe that as a leader, it is so important, to step outside of the box and blow it up and then maybe build that box again.
I think you hit it on the head, Vince. I agree with you 100%.
So for managers has objectives. Let's stick with the plan and get these done ASAP. So that pretty much hit on the last point that I just shared. Sticking with the plans, too afraid to make a judgment call. Judgment call, great point, Vince. Yes, judgment call. As a leader, as a manager, you need to know how to make judgment calls. You should not have to look to your superior to tell you when to make a judgment call. I am a firm believer that when you are hired, your manager does not want to consult with you and spend time with you with minute things that you should be knowing.
Say that again.
I forgot what I said, but I said something about minute. So you don't want to spend so much time, calling your manager for things that you should be capable of making a decision, on your own for. You don't want to be that dependent, employee, because who wants that? You're no longer an asset to the team. You're now a liability.
I agree with that. The part that stuck out to me that you shared is not having to almost maybe micromanage to the point that because even if you're a manager or a leader, you have a manager. So as a manager, I don't want to have to tell you every step. I want you to think outside the box. I want you to have a vision with the vision, as we say sometimes even in ministry. It's so important, even in your secular job, that you have a vision with the vision. How do we get to the next level? How do I think outside the box? I think it's so important if you are a leader Because managers, yes, they stick to the task and they don't do anything else.
Yep.
They're checklist driven. Next. But when you think about a leader, you think outside the box. You are thinking of what's coming down the road. We stay a step ahead to ensure that from a visionary standpoint, you're thinking of the big picture.
No, really excellent point, TJ. Really, really excellent point. And then leader, vision. I like your thinking. Let's see how we can work this into our operations. Once again, that's qualifying your employee. That's, giving them the validation of that their thought or their idea is valuable enough to actually be incorporated into, the vision and what the team is doing. If you disregard others' ideas and contributions to the team, you are likely not going to really get the best outcome. And I can assure you too that employee will be disengaged.
No, I agree. Vincent, your voice matters.
And TJ, your voice matters.
That's what's very important in being inclusive and making sure that we are focused as leaders, not in the manager standpoint, but from a leadership standpoint. You value your employee. Their voice matters, what they have to say, what they want to share with you. Everything that they say may not always work in this scenario, but I want you to know, I love how you put that together. That's a very good idea. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Sometimes you may have to tweak it a little bit to make it applicable for what you're trying to accomplish, but don't shut down someone's idea because you're the manager. Their voice matters. And from a leadership standpoint, when you are able to bring both the visions together and still achieve that goal, that's when I can say you're not just a leader that's taking a walk. You want somebody that's following behind you. So you want that individual to value and feel included. How many of you have managers, every time you share something with them, that's not going to work? The policy says this. I don't care what the policy says, Mary Jo. I want you to actually care about the fact that I'm sharing with you what's on my heart, and let's just figure out how we can come together.
Excellent point. And managers meet expectations. We met our goal this quarter, mission accomplished. Versus a leader, they chart new growth. Our goals are just getting at a starting point. We are limited only by how we want to reach. So with that being said, leaders reach beyond. They don't just stop because the goal has been met, but they're constantly looking for ways to stretch, look further, and really take time to figure out a growth strategy for the team. Individuals are committed to the vision, the mission, and you need to be able to clearly share that with your team. If you can't provide your team with any vision, guess what? They're going to start hopping off the bandwagon because they're going to feel like they are headed nowhere and nowhere fast.
I agree. I don't really have much to add to that. What you said, you hit it right on the head. You need to have a vision, and if you don't have a vision, I'm getting off the bus because we're not going anywhere.
Off the bus. Do you hear me?
We're not going anywhere.
Nowhere. Awesome episode today, TJ. So once again, this is our favorite part. We are opening up the floor for questions and answers. So go ahead and comment below if you have any questions or answers. We want to answer whatever questions you have. You may have some comments. Judging by our notifications, we got a lot of we have quite a few comments. Oh my goodness. All right. So Charlissa James, love the topic. Keisha Miller Lee, wow, this is good. Keisha Miller, my thoughts, my opinion. Those leaders I use as learning stepping stones on how not to act when I get in their role. Absolutely, Keisha. You don't want to you want to learn from your manager's mistakes. You want to learn from people's mistakes in general. So excellent. Charlissa, oh my God, me too. We have more meetings than productivity at my place of employment. I can understand how that can be frustrating. Kendrick Scales, that's good leadership. Teresa Battles, that's good. Best Mac, that's good. Helena Robbins, good leadership is so important. That is absolutely right, Helena. Keisha, comment, great topic. My thoughts, my opinions. I think you should create a podcast title, My Thoughts, My Opinions. That's good, Keisha. A person can do both, but a real true manager can identify a leader amongst the team that can help lead the team to get the job done.
I agree with that.
I agree with that as well. Really great point. And then this one wasn't featured, but this one was another comment by Tanisha. She said, a manager may know the job and can fulfill the responsibilities of the task, but still cannot lead. Now that is deep. That's heavy.
And I'll say this as we wrap this up. If you are a manager that lacks in the areas of some of the things that we talked about, take some leadership courses, take some leadership classes, get a mentor, work with other leaders. Yes, you may have the title of a manager, but that does not make you a leader. You can learn some of the characteristics and try to develop some of those behaviors. And there are some individuals that, I'll be honest, and some people may not want to hear this said, you may not be a person that should be in a leadership role. So think about that, but also understand when you're leading individuals, you need to be at your A game because they're counting on you.
And also, too, I mean, as we were talking about leaders and mentorship and different things like that, myself and Thad, we are consultants and we specialize in leadership development training. So please take the time to reach out to us and book us for your consultation. We are more than happy. Both of us have over 10 plus years in leadership experience in both retail and financial, in the financial industry. So reach out to us. We are more than happy to consult with you, to share with you our different leadership abilities and qualities. We both have taken a number of courses around leadership development as well, where we're able to provide you all with firsthand experience and insight from not only just an opinion based, but also HR practices and different things of that sort, which contributes to our level of knowledge and expertise on the subject matter. So just wanted to throw that out there. So now we have reached the point where we are going to share our announcements before we dismiss. So I'm so excited to share this, TJ. Registration will be opening for Secrets to Earning Your Worth webinar. Yes, you heard it here first. We recorded our inaugural webinar, Secrets to Earning Your Worth. This webinar is jam-packed with so much information for professionals that are looking to develop as professionals, that's looking to climb the corporate ladder, individuals that are looking to earn more money, because guess what? We work for money, and we are here to help you maximize and capitalize off of the experiences that you have. And you can do that by sharpening your skill sets by registering for our Secrets to Earning Your Worth webinar, where we're talking resume building, we're talking interviewing concepts, we're talking leveraging LinkedIn, we're talking salary negotiations and renegotiations, we're talking personal branding, we're talking all of these things. And these are the steps that I took myself and TJ took to get to the level in the professional world that we both had the opportunity to get to.
No, I agree, Vince. I think one piece that we want to share with you also about the webinar, we have some professionals that are at the top in their career in these specific areas, and they have proven track results that will blow your mind. So definitely, as registration opens up, you want to tell a friend, to have them tell a friend, because you will not leave disappointed. The information is mind-blowing. There are definitely secrets to earning your worth.
There definitely is. And I want to add this final plug to that too. We created a focus group, and we sampled the webinar as well before we decided to roll it out to the general public. And part of the feedback that we got from someone, especially on that salary negotiations and renegotiation presentation, they had got the confidence that they needed to go back to their manager to talk about renegotiating their salary. So now they're in the midst of conversations. So we would keep you guys posted on the outcome of that conversation. But this happened by way of them being a part of our webinar. So Secrets to Earning Your Worth is coming to you all soon. So registration will be opening up, and we want you to get your hands on this content.
And then meet us here every single Tuesday at 6:30, same time, same place, right here for the Upskill Forum, where we have great information for you. This is another topic that you all wanted to talk about. Send us your topics, put them in our inbox on our Agile Consulting Group Facebook page, so we can continue to support and answer questions that you have.
And schedule your one-on-one consultation today by emailing us at engageus@agile-consultinggroup.com, where we will be able to provide you with consulting services, be it on leadership, as we mentioned earlier, customer service training, team building, entrepreneurship. If you are interested in starting a business and you don't know exactly where to start or how to start, TJ and myself have helped a number of businesses launch their brands, and these are successful businesses today. And I think we're going to start featuring some of them on our Upskill Forum episodes as well. So stay tuned for that.
And then join our private group via Facebook, the Agile Group, which is a private group on social media. We also have our LinkedIn. So definitely connect with us and follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, and then also the Agile Consulting Group on our social media platform.
Awesome. And thank you all so much for tuning in. We are so excited that you all took time out of your day to join us for another episode of the Upskill Forum. And as we always like to end each and every episode with our motto, and that is what, TJ?
Live agile,
work agile, succeed agile. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, my friends.